A sophisticated sensory system is operating inside you right now, completely in the dark. It works continuously, without your permission, without conscious awareness, and with no way to turn it off. This quote comes from a peer-reviewed 2019 study published in the journal eNeuro. It states that the human brain responds to rotations of the ambient geomagnetic field at Earth normal intensity. You have been receiving a transmission from the planet your entire life. This connection is a biological integration dating back 540 million years. Nearly every major animal body plan appeared during the Cambrian explosion, and every one of those nervous systems developed inside the specific electromagnetic envelope generated by the Earth's iron core. This anatomical diagram highlights the biogenic hardware you still carry from that era. You have precisely positioned magnetite, a highly sensitive magnetic iron mineral, located in your ethmoid sinus, the meninges surrounding your brain, and directly inside your cardiac tissue. Evolution structurally tethered our bodies to the Earth's magnetic architecture as a baseline requirement for survival. Standard neuroscience treats consciousness as a byproduct, a wetness that emerges when neurons fire together. But this model fails to explain how billion neuron activity integrates into a single unified experience. This diagram illustrates conscious electromagnetic information theory. It proposes that consciousness resides within the brain's endogenous electromagnetic field. To prevent this unified field from fragmenting, it must continuously calibrate against the external metronome of the Earth's geomagnetic signal. The planet's geomagnetic reference is the foundational boundary condition for the mind. It is the anchor that allows the human nervous system to maintain coherence. In the year 2000, the average human sleeping environment was electromagnetically identical to the conditions of the Cambrian era. Since then, the ambient radio frequency density in our cities has increased by several orders of magnitude. This comparison shows the collapse of our signal-to-noise ratio. The Earth's broadcast hasn't weakened. Ambient static buried the sensitivity thresholds. By flooding the environment with noise, we've created an engineered void pole, artificially recreating a solar minimum that isolates the brain from its anchor. This crisis has a secondary layer. MIT research has proven that human bodies are not just receivers, we are active transmitters. Our heartbeats and physiological states imprint distinct signatures onto the ambient radio frequencies passing through us. This graphic shows the ecological result of 8 billion human transmitters. We are projecting overlapping waves of biological telemetry, creating a localized, self-reinforcing wall of biological and digital static. By becoming so reachable to one another through connectivity, we have built the very instrument that deafens us to our evolutionary ground. We can measure the precise biological toll of this severance. Regression analysis of 56 million mortality records over a 21-year period reveals the fatal cost of a rising noise floor. This statistic represents a baseline requirement for survival. The massive z-score of -7.84 confirms high geomagnetic activity acts as a protective shield. But running beneath that protection is this time trend residual, showing a continuous rise in unexplained nocturnal deaths surviving all controls. Medical institutions frequently dismiss small linear increases as diagnostic coding drift. However, within this biophysical framework, that positive coefficient is the mathematical signature of 8 billion emitters flooding the room. This workflow diagram outlines the Phase 3 CDC protocol. By cross-referencing exact date mortality with local radio frequency density, researchers can isolate the specific windows where the planetary signal is present but buried under local interference. We are mathematically measuring the steady, collective degradation of the conditions required to sustain human life. To understand the failure of the human biofield, we have to look at how the brain reads its own electromagnetic state under extreme conditions. The plasma pole represents peak coherence. Flooded with organized atmospheric energy, like tornado ionization, the brain perceives its hyper-calibrated state as luminous protective figures. The void pole is the opposite extreme. Under a crush of static, the brain perceives its failing coherence as a predatory, crushing presence.
This collapse is the biological driver behind sudden, unexplained nocturnal death syndrome, the condition historically known as the night crusher. This ECG chart shows the mechanical failure. Specific cardiac ion channels, known as SCN5A variants, are highly sensitive to electromagnetic reference shifts. When the signal-to-noise ratio collapses, these channels lose their planetary anchor and physically destabilize, leading to fatal arrhythmia. The night crusher is simply the physiological readout of a heart that was blocked from hearing the planet. We must redefine our understanding of biological integrity. Traditional regulatory models focus on thermal damage or DNA mutation, but they overlook the lethal threat of signal decoherence. This graphic illustrates the trade-off of our technological expansion. We built a dense grid of local interference that severs the connection to the planetary waves passing right overhead. The Earth is still broadcasting the metronome that guided the Cambrian explosion. The magnetite in your skull is still attempting to read that vector. The room is simply too loud to hear it. Our technological ecology transformed a 540-million-year-old survival mechanism into a critical vulnerability. We are drowning the very signal that grew us.